the channel. I am here at Waterloo station, is just behind me. As you've seen, I've travelled from Norbiton to Waterloo today for something very exciting. I'm here on my own. It has been a hot minute since I've been out in public vlogging on my own, so apologies if I'm a bit rusty, but as I normally have someone with me to bounce off of now, and I don't have that, so yeah, apologies if this is a little bit all over the place to start with. But I am here to go to the serial killer exhibition located in the Vaults, which is literally a 5-10 minute walk away from Waterloo station. I've wanted to come and do the exhibition ever since we did our haunted pub tour, and our guide Maria recommended it to us. Ewan wasn't too bothered about it, so I thought I would take this opportunity to come on my own and come and see what it's all about. Apparently it's had rave reviews, and if you know me personally, you know I am a huge fan of true crime. I listen to loads of true crime podcasts. When true crime documentaries or dramas are on TV, I'll watch them. For example, White House Farm, Des were probably the ones that got me into it first. So yeah, I'm very, it's just a big interest, so I'm looking forward to seeing what it is. I will take some pictures and do some voiceovers for you to show you some of the highlights of the exhibition, and then at the end I will review the overall experience and let you know if I think it's worth it. I think it's only in London until the 5th of January, so if you do want to come, I think there's probably still a few tickets available. Definitely get them booked sooner rather than later, as I believe this is leaving soon. But anyway, I'll show you where the vaults are located, and then I'll either see you inside the exhibition a little bit or afterwards. But yeah, enjoy the highlights. So this is where the vaults are located, in the Leek Street Arches, otherwise known as Graffiti Tunnel. I mean, look. This is where Ewan would love. I've never ever brought him down here. It is pretty cool. Very sketchy looking, but you know. And here we have it. So before we get into the main part of this video, where I will be doing a voiceover to explain some of the things you will see in the exhibition, please kindly note that going forward there will be graphic images that will be disturbing and upsetting. As soon as you enter the exhibition, they lay out what the exhibition includes and different types of serial killers that you will be learning about through the tour. And they also debunk a lot of myths and theories at the beginning. So first up, they define what a serial killer, or who a serial killer is. And a serial murder is when the unlawful killing of 2 or more victims by the same offender happens in separate events. So this is something not to be confused with mass murder. They also talk about how serial killers operate and how they are organised murderers, but they can also be disorganised murderers too. So an organised murderer will have very good conversational skills and be really confident in social situations. They probably have families and they probably have a job, and they will plan their crimes. A disorganised murderer will lack the social skills and normally live alone or live with their parents, and will also not plan their crime, which means the crime scene is very messy. The exhibition then talks about motivations that will drive serial killers to murder. And these are the categories that are split up during the exhibition. So you have missionary serial killers, visionary, hedonistic, control-oriented, profit-oriented, serial killer couples, and lastly cyber killers. And you go through the exhibition in these orders. So it will start off with missionary serial killers, where they live for an ambitious goal and believe that their murders will help improve the world. Missionary killers kill due to their personal beliefs, and they believe they must cleanse the world of categories of people that they consider unworthy of living in society and people that they must eliminate. Therefore, an example of such people that they deem unworthy would be prostitutes, homeless people, drug dealers, so on. Missionary serial killers are also aware of their actions and consequences, but still choose to go on the path of murderous intentions, as they believe it is their duty to do so. The first missionary killer you come across in the exhibition is probably the most famous one around the world, and that is Jack the Ripper. And the first thing you see when you walk around the corner is a very upsetting and very graphic recreation of the murder scene of the Ripper's fifth victim, Mary Jane Kelly. After looking at the reconstruction of the crime scene, you walk around the corner, and this is where you get your first lot of in-depth information about the Jack the Ripper crime. The first thing they talk about are the victims of Jack the Ripper, and you have the 5 that are more widely known to do with the case. To name them: Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. All the first 4 of the 5 victims are all in their 40s, and Mary Jane Kelly was seen as a bit of an anomaly, as she was only 25 years old. However, you will learn in the exhibition that they believe that Jack may have killed more than just these 5 women, both before and after these 5 murders. Over the next couple of slides, there are pictures of a doctor's bag, surgical instruments, and a reconstructed model of the blade that was allegedly used by Jack the Ripper. At the same time as the Jack the Ripper murders in London, there was also the French Ripper going around in France. And over the next few slides, there will be pictures of the small part he plays in this exhibition. Feel free to pause to look and read at any of the evidence on the screen. Moving back to Jack, on screen you can see a late 19th century camera which would have been used to collect evidence and photos of the crime scenes. In this section they also talk about the funerals of the victims, which is something not widely spoken about when it comes to the Jack the Ripper case. On screen now are reproductions of documents which would have been published alongside the investigations. There are also 2 paragraphs on screen which are from the detective of the time who was looking into the Jack the Ripper cases, and also a modern FBI agent who are talking about the profile of the killer. Next up is a map of the crime scenes, mapping out where the victims would have been, and also a small copy of a map that was used back in the investigation in 1888. The final section, focusing on Jack, is all about the primary suspects and the letters that the press and police received, said to be written by Jack himself. One of the biggest things that shocked me when reading about the suspects that could have been Jack was that one of them was Prince Albert. Queen Victoria's own husband was suspected. The exhibition then continues exploring more missionary serial killers and their stories. These include Moses Sittell, Peter Sutcliffe, Herbert Baumeister, and Joseph Paul Franklin. On the screen, you will see real life artifacts from the serial killers as well as the banners explaining what their serial killer crimes were, what their target audiences were, and where they are now. In some of these photos on the banners, you will see pictures of people with a red background. This is to indicate the victims of the killers, and all are named with their in full with their ages at the time they passed. And I think this is a lovely way to remember the victims, and it also recognizes them in the way they deserve to be remembered, named and not anonymous. The exhibition then moved on to the next category of serial killers, which was visionary serial killers who have a brief detachment from reality to take life. These are generally individuals who kill on command, driven by maybe delusions or hallucinations, having lost touch with reality. And the first visionary serial killer that the exhibition covers is Leonardo Cianculi. Apologies if that is a really bad pronunciation. And she was better known as the soap maker of Correggio. She feared that her favourite son, Giuseppe, would be called to fight in World War II, and she was convinced that human sacrifices would protect her son from death, following a curse that her mother had said when her mother was dying, saying that she would marry and have children, but all the children would die. Following this, Leonardo deemed it necessary to sacrifice 4 victims in the town. Within 2 years, she had murdered 3 women from the town using an axe. After she dismembered their bodies, she dissolved their remains in caustic soda before boiling them in a huge kitchen pot. The blood was collected in a basin and then used to prepare cookies that she offered to her son and neighbours. During this, she also extracted soap bars during the boiling process and sold them or gave them as gifts for friends and acquaintances. Thankfully, Leonardo was stopped and captured thanks to suspicions raised by her sister-in-law. Over the next few slides, you'll see a recreation of Leonardo's kitchen, including the boiling pot she used, the caustic soda crystals, and lots of other different evidence that was found. To name the victims, you had Faustina Setti, Francesca Sovi, and Virginia Cacioppo. I think that's how you pronounce it. Apologies again if I haven't pronounced that right. And they were three single elderly ladies that Leonardo targeted in the belief that if they died, her four children would be safe and wouldn't die in awful circumstances. The next visionary serial killer that the exhibition covers is Ed Gein. This is a little bit of an anomaly, as it was a bizarre oddity in criminal psychology. So he had killed two women, which means he could be defined as a serial killer. It is difficult to compare him with other serial murderers inside this exhibition, as circumstances identify him more as a grave robber caught up in delusions. This is because his criminal behaviour was induced by a stress factor that was triggered by a life-changing event when Ed lost his mother. Following this event, he began exhuming corpses of recently deceased women from cemeteries with the intent of creating a suit from their anatomical parts under the delusional belief, with an evident form of schizophrenia, that he could resurrect his deceased mother. In this section of the exhibition, you will see loads of pictures of some of Ed's work where he used human flesh to make lampshade covers and various other things. There is also a whole human corset made from a female torso, which is a little bit grim. But also, the exhibition then covers the big response Ed Gein has had in the horror movie world, where a lot of horror movie villains have been based off of him, such as Freddy Krueger. Over the next few minutes, you'll see the other visionary serial killers featured in the exhibition and pictures of some of their personal items or recreations of items. These visionary serial killers include Richard Chase, Vasily Alexandrov Smirnov, Ramadan Abdul Rahim Masur, David Berkowitz, Anatoly Onoprienko, Alexander Yurovich Pichuskin, and Herbert Malin. Once again, I'm so sorry if I've pronounced any of those names incorrectly. The next category of serial killers in the exhibition is serial killers for personal gain or comfort killers who kill for a better life. These motivations vary. A lot of them kill for victims' possessions, to collect an insurance policy, or an inheritance, so profit or money killings. However, sometimes it can be emotional needs, such as a woman who wants to get rid of husbands or lovers, or a mother who kills a child who doesn't meet their expectations. A huge section of this part of the exhibition is dedicated to a serial killer called Karl Denk, or Father Denk. He lived in Poland and his family owned a farm where all the murders took place, where it looked like he would dismember body parts, and the shed was found full of human bones, and there was a wooden barrel containing a mixture of salt for helping of disposing corpses. This is really weird, as there was also a open coffin with Karl Denk inside, and there is a recreation of this in the exhibition. Over the next few slides, you'll see pictures and more about the investigation into this killer. And it was really disgusting because we believe that he did this for profit at the end of World War One, which had kind of forced Europe into a survival kind of thing to get money as quickly as they could. But also we believe, as learnt in the exhibition, that he was selling some of this meat to meat traders, which is just disgusting. The exhibition also covers the following serial killers in the section dedicated to serial killers who kill for personal gain or comfort killers. These serial killers are John Haig, Danny Rowling, Aileen Wuornos, and Dorothea Puente. The next section of this video contains pictures and facts from the part of the exhibition entitled Serial Killers Oriented Towards Dominance and Control. These serial killers killed to be in control of their victims. Fantasies of dominance and the expression of violent sexuality are the tools that allowed these serial killers to impose themselves, humiliating, subjugating, and dehumanizing the victim. The serial killers included in this section are Robert Burdella, Harry Heidnick, Andrew Uridiles, Richard Ramirez, Angelo Bueno, Gary Ridgway, Randy Kraft, Gerald John Schaefer, Dennis Rader, Ed Kemper, and perhaps the most famous in this section, Ted Bundy. The next section of the video focuses on the part of the exhibition covering hedonistic serial killers who enjoy killing. They do it for the pleasure, for the excitement and gratification that comes from taking a human life. You could say these are some of the most disgusting serial killers out there, as they're aware of what they're doing, but they also get some sort of sick enjoyment from it. The 4 serial killers focused on in this part of the exhibition are John Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer, the Monster of Florence, and Dennis Nilsen. The last section of the exhibition I'm going to talk about in the video are serial killer couples who are the perfect fit for committing serial crimes. This is because there are normally a relationship between the two members. It doesn't have to be romantic, it can also just be a friendship. And they fit well together because neither member of the couple would kill alone. So they bounce off of each other and they need each other. This could become psychological dependence because one influences the other's actions. They have the shared motive and a symbolic bond. The serial killer couples featured in this section of the video are Lawrence Bittaker and Roy Norris, Henry Lee Lucas and Otis Toole, Doug Clark and Carol Bundy, Ian Brady and Myra Hindley, and Fred West and Rosemary Letts. So, about 3.5 hours to 4 hours later, I've finally surfaced from the serial killer exhibition, I have of course got the guidebook, which is £16, and you can purchase that along with loads of other merch at the end of the tour. Wow, there's so much to see. They have a really good audio guide, which you scan a QR code on your phone to listen to the audio guide as you go around each section. It's like 71 parts long, so it's a very long tour. But if you struggle reading and taking in all the information, like from reading, audio guide, fantastic. Very in-depth, and it kind of repeats a lot of the facts. I was doing both. I was listening to the audio and looking at stuff, and then reading all the facts after, which is why it takes so long. So literally take your time. Once you're in, you don't have to rush through. Just make sure you arrive on time for your time slots, as they may not let you in, as it is extremely popular, and I can see why now. The audio guide for the first few sections is all divided up into the different types of serial killers you have, and then they focus on them one by one until later on in the exhibition, where it becomes like more generalized. You listen to a short clip and then you read about like multiple different serial killers under that umbrella. Yeah, it's just incredible. A lot of it is repeated in this, so I'll be reading through this on my way home and also when I get home. I highly recommend it. Ooh, sorry, changing arm, my arm is aching. I didn't really video much in there, as it's very difficult with the amount of people trying to get to look at all the artifacts, but I took pictures. I'll do voiceovers for parts of it. I tried to take as many pictures of the like visual descriptions of crime scenes, so you guys can read it as well, and I'll make sure I make those sections of the video long so you can just take in as much as possible from it. I think I was right. I believe the London Stop of the World tour of this exhibition ends on the first Sunday of January, which I think is or maybe it finishes on the Saturday, which is the 5th. So it'll either finish on Saturday the 5th or Sunday the 6th. If you do have time and there are tickets available, I do highly recommend you go and check it out, because yeah, wow, my mind is blown. Like, I saw killers I've obviously heard about, and there were loads that I'd never heard of before, and they go into enough depth so you kind of know stuff. All the fact sheets tell you like where they were born, their crimes, how many they killed, and also the perceptions of a serial killer is like a lot of them are wrong. You have to have killed a certain amount of people over a period of time to be a serial killer. So like, don't confuse it with mass murder, but I think there's a section of that will be in the vlog anyway. But yeah, this might take me a while to edit, so if this video is coming up considerably later than the day I visited, I do apologise, but there was so much to take in there, so much I wanted to capture, that yeah, I have spent a long time in there. Normally with exhibitions they say have like 1 to 2 hours, but like I said, as soon as you're in there, just take your time going around. I've been in there for like 4 hours, so I need to sit down, have a drink, and I'm gonna go home to a lovely roast dinner with my mum. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's very weird being just me on my own, but yeah, and I will see you in our next video, which I think will be me and Ewan going to Gourmet Burger Kitchen for Ewan's first ever visit there. So I'm very excited to eat some good food, and for him to finally go to a really good restaurant. Anyway, I will see you guys in that video. Bye!